we thought we would wrap it up. And this young lady, I know her story is going to surprise you just as much as the other stories did, because I've had the pleasure of really getting to know her. And every time we talk, it's a new layer of something that I find out about her. So I've been in Culver City for 26 years, and I don't drive half as crazy as I used to because I'm local. I don't make as many U-turns as I do because I now know the chief of police and all of that, and the mayor. But this woman here, I've never seen an African-American female police officer in Culver City. Now that we're celebrating Black History Month, there is another African-American officer, and she works at the school. So that was a discovery for me. But this young lady is retired. So she was back in the day, and I won't say too far back in the day, because when she comes up, you'll say, oh, she had to be a greeter. But she has done some phenomenal things in her career, and to be a female police officer for the Culver City Police Department and another organization that she'll tell you about is amazing. But she was also just recently the former mayor's, so my former First Lady of Culver City. I love saying that because the mayor is mayor for a year, and I say, you got to meet the First Lady of Culver City, and she come prancing out, hi, wearing all that and more. And it was just phenomenal to see how she has navigated and transitioned in that role. She's also part of an organization called Sister Cities, and I didn't know what they did until I met her. I walked past the little garden, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. But in getting to know her, I know the story behind the garden that sits right outside the Library of Culver City. I didn't know about that before. I've watched her travel. So in terms of stamps on your passport, going to Africa, going to Korea, she's done all that in a span of a year. So in terms of travel, this lady travels. But she also has a heart for community. She has a heart for people, and I'm just honored to call her friend, to call her a VIP Mornista, to call her an ambassador, because when I call her, she's like, sure, I'll be there. She's one of my top models on Friday nights. She's generally modeling for me. And to know that she's a pistol packing mama, and whenever I'm out, I'm safe. That speaks volume to me. And I know you would never imagine this when she graces us with her presence. So Kim Griffin, come on down. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Thank you. So,
One of her bags. Final take 5.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So Kim, how long were you on the Culver City Police Department?
I was at Culver City PD for 17 years.
Okay.
I started actually my law enforcement career with the California Highway Patrol, and I started there in 1984, and I was there for 2 years, and thought, is law enforcement really what I want to do? Because there was a lot of challenges, being a Black woman, being Black, being a woman, and then navigating that life in a male-dominated occupation. So I left, but then came back, and then came back to Culver City, and then was there, like I said, for 17 years.
So when you left, were you a detective, or were you with the Highway Patrol when you say you left?
I left law enforcement altogether.
Wow.
So I thought that I wanted to be a nurse.
Okay.
And then I started taking the classes and doing the nursing thing, and I was like, oh no, I really don't want to do that. That's hard work. I commend anyone that's a nurse, because that's a tall order right there.
So I learned something different. She could take you down and then bandage you up if she likes you. Okay. So what did you find to be the most challenging thing about being a Black woman on the police force, and how did you overcome it?
The pushback from male officers and male supervisors.
Okay.
When I got there, they didn't think that I was capable of doing the job.
Okay.
Being a woman, you are challenged at your physical ability, your intellectual ability, your compassion, and being able to work and navigate with everyone. So I think that was the biggest challenge for me, to prove that I should be in the room and that I'm going to stay in the room.
Wow. And you do it so gracefully. So gracefully. Can you imagine her pushing back? It's like with that heel. Yeah. Or the boot. So what would you say is your greatest accomplishment, either on the Culver City Police Force or throughout your career?
I think at Culver City, I was a juvenile detective, and we had a juvenile diversion program.
Okay.
And it was for kids that were under the age of 18 that committed a minor violation.
Okay.
And didn't have a history of bad activity.
Okay.
So instead of us filing charges against them in court and potentially destroying their life by putting them into the system, we gave them an opportunity to be a part of our program, where we showed them an alternative to making poor decisions.
Okay.
And it was a 24-week program. Their parents were also required to participate to give them parenting skills, because sometimes the kids made bad decisions because their parents weren't around or didn't want to participate or were doing hot mess stuff themselves.
Right.
So the fact that we're just bringing that child in and giving them an opportunity to turn their life around, we're requiring their parents to be a parent.
Okay.
So I think doing that program was the most rewarding to me. And I did that for the 4 years that I was a detective, and still have relationships with some of those kids that went through the program to this day.
Wow, that's great. That's really great. It's really great. There's some common threads that are weaving throughout what everyone has shared. And one of the things that I heard you say that was a common thread is relationships.
Yes.
Building those relationships. So when you look back at your career, what would you want to tell your younger self? Or what would you want to share with a Black woman entering into the role of being a police officer?
I think it's a challenge, right? I would talk to the woman that's considering being into law enforcement now.
Okay.
It's definitely, we need people who look like us in that space, because the people that look like us sometimes aren't represented well from the aspect of law enforcement. They're not treated well from the aspect of law enforcement.
Okay.
So know that you are supposed to be there. We need you there. And even though you're going to get pushback from family members that are like, why you want to be the popo kind of thing. But if you are in that space, then you can represent us while you're in that space. So know that you are supposed to be in the room and walk tall and walk strong and confidently into it, knowing that you can do just as good a job as anybody else that's in there.
Beautiful. I have to ask you the same question I asked Anne. How did you survive and thrive in your role as a police officer, as a Black woman?
I think, quite similar to what Anne had mentioned. I've been told that I'm an introvert, so I kind of thought that was true, but I believe that I'm not. I think I'm kind of a social butterfly. So I would network with the people that were in that space.
Okay.
So they would understand who I was and be comfortable with my culture and my ethnicity and my gender, and not prejudge me and make an assumption about who I am or what I'm doing or how I'm going to act
Right.
because of the stereotypical angry black woman. They're like,
Right.
okay, we don't want to, have her around and be a part of our group because we don't want her to act that way. Well, if you know who I am and I'm in that space, then you see me from a different side. Because you do kind of have two faces when you're in law enforcement, because you can't be too soft or fluffy around the edges, because some people, criminals, lack of a better word, will try to take advantage.
Okay.
So you have to be kind of hard sometimes, but on the flip side of that, you are this loving sister, sibling, daughter, in some cases mother. So that's another side to you. So you have to live both sides.
Okay.
And embrace one and then also embrace the other.
So from what you shared, and I'm sorry I didn't send you this question, but it's just a running theme that I've seen where, I think I would have loved to have asked each of you this question, but since you're the last one, is there or was there anyone or any group of people along the way that aligned with you to kind of be that friend in the room that you could say helped you navigate the rooms that you were in?
Yeah, actually some of it was usually my partners, the
Okay.
people that I was, pushing that black and white with for 8 hours.
Okay.
When you were dealing with pushback from people in the community that were black, that had an attitude with me because I'm working for the man, and then you have coworkers that are like, she shouldn't be here, and then your family is like, why are you still there?
Right.
So you're dealing with that on a regular basis, and that friendship that you develop in that car, they kind of help you work through it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and actually one of the people that ended up being is the former mayor, my current boyfriend. We will work together. That's how we actually met, is on the police department at Culver City.
Yes. When I think about, what I know many of you have shared that were on the panel discussion, you often mention someone in the room that aligned with you, someone that, supported you. So that's why I asked that question.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
You did bring up Sister City committee that I'm a part of. I'm very passionate about that right now. And when we was talking about travel and international travel, the Dwight Eisenhower started the Sister City program because when he was in World War II and he was going to different towns around the world, he noticed the similarities in those towns with people that were in the same comparable sized town in the United States. And he said that if we bridge that gap and have these relationships, we're less likely to have another war. So I advocate for everyone to be a part of your Sister City program in the city that you live in and develop those relationships, those international relationships, so we can stop this madness that's going on right now.
Yes, yes. Well, I agree. I think it's important that you expose yourself to different experiences, and I'm hopeful that everything that you learned today, all the different sectors that you saw the Hidden Figures walk through and overcome, that you will ask them questions. You will, the next time you're here shopping, to really take the time to get to know the Hidden Figures. And also when you look back on your life, you'll find that you too or a hidden figure. Even though you weren't sitting on the red sofa today, there's things that you've experienced in your life and you will continue to experience over your lifetime that can really be a benefit and an asset to someone in the room. And finding that friend in the room is always important. So thank you, Kim, for being one of our hidden figures.
My pleasure.
And